Hey everybody, just got done watching Trump's remarks to the nation at the address about the wall and border security, as well as the Democrats' response to the request for funds that Trump has made. And this is going to slightly be reiterating points that I had made previously, but the primary objection that we were getting from the Democratic leadership was to portray the funding as too expensive and potentially to be a failure, that the wall would be easily worked around or just in general not carry out its intended purpose. And the main thing that I would come back with at this point is that the Democrats, especially the Democrats, but both the Democrats and the Republicans, have long ago lost any credibility on the point of financial responsibility, fiscal responsibility. Long ago, they crossed that road. Um, shoot, 2001, 2008. You can go back before that. I mean, Ross Perot was on TV in 1992 with charts about the national debt and the trajectory that was established even then. And since then, you've had both parties in power. You've had both sides establish new benefits for people, expand the military. You know, whatever your flavor of spending was, your side did it, and they didn't pay for it. And if you would have liked to have paid for it with higher taxes, as some Democrats suggest, all you would have done in that case is either slow economic growth, cause a recession, drive money overseas. So you would get a bigger slice of a smaller pie. Basically, there's no at a certain point, higher taxes just cannibalize the economy itself. So long ago, both sides have crossed this financial responsibility bridge, and so no one can be taken seriously outside of a few, fringe, extremely libertarian people within the I would say within the Republican Party, people like Rand Paul, and even his credibility is limited. I would say when it comes to federal spending. But basically, it comes down to this: is that when it comes down to the amount of funding being asked for by Trump, the 5.6 or 5.7 billion, whatever the amount is, when you look at that amount in the scale of the entire federal budget, which is several trillion dollars, not counting the money that they continuously borrow or have the Federal Reserve print out of thin air for them. So we're talking about, and most people in general out there, they don't understand large numbers. So when they hear 5.7 billion, or they hear that the federal budget is 3 to 4 trillion, all they hear is really big number. They don't understand the difference between these two numbers. You're trying to reach your Joe Six Pack constituency, or you're even worse. Your low ends to people who have a really strong opinion but have absolutely no idea what's going on in general. And so basically, the Democrats just came off as dishonest to me. They've come and magically dust off this banner of fiscal responsibility over the amount of $5.7 billion. And that's just, it's just not, it's completely insignificant when it comes to the overall budget, when it comes to the trajectory of the federal debt and the federal deficit. $5.7 trillion, yes, it's a lot of money to an individual. It might be even a lot of money to a community or to a company. But when taken in the nation as a whole, $5.7 billion is nothing. Is absolutely nothing. It does not move the needle. It does not make you a saver of anything to save $5.7 billion. And I don't have any of the numbers in front of me right now, but you can take any of the federal programs where hobos are out trading steaks for money so that they can buy booze and drugs in the parking lots of the country, which is billions of dollars of waste. Because even if a small percentage of the people who are using the tens or hundreds of billions of dollars spent on food stamps every single year, not once, mind you, but every single year, if even a small amount of that ends up going to waste or fraud, that program is a bigger waste than a $5.7 billion wall would be. If you look at a few of these Navy ships that they've come out with that look like James Bond Navy ships that are supposed to be stealth or utilize a minimal crew or something like that. Each one of these costs several $100 million up to $1 billion each. So we're talking about, what, a couple of Navy ships, and we have a fleet of, 150 of them already? And that's just one branch of the military. So put it in the proper context that if you are staking your credibility on $5.7 billion, then your priority is not financial responsibility. Your priority has to be somewhere else. And that's where the Democrats came off as dishonest to me. Because, yes, I know why Trump wants the wall. I know what his idea of the wall would be, and whether it works or not, ultimately, in the end, would remain to be seen. However, I know why the Democrats oppose the wall, and it's not because of the cost. The cost of $5.7 billion is not the source of the objection. Being financially fiscally responsible is not something the Democratic Party takes seriously now, and it's not something they've ever taken seriously. It just isn't out there, especially when you consider the size of the request. The federal budget is what, $3 to $4 trillion. We're talking about orders of magnitude larger, and then they want to come out and plant their flag in the fiscal responsibility hill. That's the hill they want to die on. No, you can tell that their real motivation is something else. That they don't want the wall because they're afraid the wall might work. These are people that are corrupt. These are people that are in office, that are powerful people, that have connections to narco money, that have connections to illegal sources of funds through trafficking networks, whether it's human trafficking, dealing in drugs, illegal contraband of all type. And this kind of thing does not enter the mainstream banking system without the approval of the powers that be in the government. And so you can tell that they're just afraid politically and economically that the wall would stand as a symbol, as something that would actually work and actually help the common man. Because they spend billions of dollars keeping people fat, docile, stupid, attached to, propaganda media. They do all of these things and they spend way more money on that, orders of magnitude more money. The amount of money that they spend on that stuff in one day would fund 100 walls. But they're going to oppose this, not because of the $5.7 trillion, because they're afraid it will work. And they're afraid that their plan to demographically shift a bunch of voters into this country, swarm over the border European style, with unlimited people coming across and getting large amounts of welfare like they're getting in Germany, like they're getting in France, like they're getting in Sweden, like they're getting in the UK. They want to put them up and give them 30, 40, $50,000 a year, depending on how many kids they have with them. They want to give them free medical care. They want to give them free housing. They want to give them special education at an extra high price. And then they want to have this generation of voters that they believe will support them no matter what. And they want to take your money to do it. They want to take the working people's of America's money to do it, to fund these new people, and then they want to use this money in order to buy votes, buy a generation worth of votes, because $5.7 billion is meaningless in the political context of today's federal budget. I'm trying to keep this concise and get this up quickly. So I'll wish everybody a good night, and I'll see you guys out there.